Hello, everybody. I am Shay, your host, and I welcome you all my Shea Buttercups, which basically just means my little love bugs. I love all of you guys. That's all it means. I want to call you my Shea Buttercups. I didn't want to get any kind of confusion. So, we're going to get straight into it because I don't like these long introductions. So I'm going to go straight into what I wanted to discuss. And what I wanted to discuss is something that I see so common. But what's interesting about it is not a lot of people know they're one of them, or they're a victim, or they have symptoms of this. And what could I possibly be talking about? I am talking about trauma. Trauma comes in so many ways, so many forms, and it lasts for who knows how long. How do we fix that? How do we even know we have it? How do we stop it from happening to others? Is that possible? Well, firstly, I think it's important for us to identify exactly what is a trauma. So we're going to go to Google. Everybody seems to trust Google. Now I don't want it to think that everything is based on solely opinion. So we're going to have a couple of facts here. And here's a couple of definitions. The first one is a deeply distressing or disturbing experience. And that's the one I actually want to talk about. And a deeper definition is an emotional shock following a stressful event or a physical injury, which may be associated with physical shock and sometimes lead to long-term neurosis. And that's the one I want to talk about. Of course, there's other traumas, but we're going to stick to the emotional one because the emotional one to me is very deadly. It is lethal. It's a silent killer. It's really what it is. And trauma, it affects so much in our life. And sometimes we don't know how to handle it. Sometimes we don't even know that we are traumatized. So which one is worse? Knowing you're traumatized and not knowing how to handle it, or not knowing you're traumatized at all? Because it's 50-50. So what do we do? What can you do? Well, let's talk about it. I'm going to give my couple of opinions. And I've actually looked at this situation for quite some time now. I'm not talking about a couple of months. I'm not talking about a couple of months. I've actually looked at the situation for years. Because I observe different people, different traumas, and how they respond differently. And you know what's the problem with trauma? Is it can be generational. It can be passed down like some sort of sickness. Because if I am the mother and I don't know I'm traumatized, or I don't deal with the trauma, and I raise, say, my children in a toxic environment, that toxic environment is only toxic if they know it's toxic. Instead of knowing it's toxic, it becomes normal. So you grow up thinking everyone is toxic. Everyone acts like this. They think like this. They move like this. This is reality. Until you meet the people who are not toxic, and they're like, yo, what's wrong with you? That's not how this goes. And they're like, what you mean? In my house, we yell. In my house, we get disrespectful. What is rude? What is boundaries? What are you talking about? My parents yell at each other all day. That's how we express ourselves. And that might be true. But does that make it right? Just because it is normal to you does not make it correct. a trauma you don't know you have until someone else shows you the right way. Or maybe they didn't show you the right way, and now you grow up thinking, okay, that's normal. And then you pass it on to your children, and so on and so on. Generational traumas are so real. But how do they start? Because if I'm the mom and I'm traumatized, something had to happen to me. I wasn't born traumatized. Okay, it's not a birth defect. You heard the definition. An emotional distress from a situation. Something had to happen to me for me to be traumatized. So let's take it all the way back to the very beginning. And when it comes to emotions, at some point, we have to hold ourselves accountable for how we react. We cannot control what someone else does. Trauma is not a control. Because if that was the case, you wouldn't be traumatized. If I can control how I feel regarding how you treat me, it wouldn't be trauma. I can't control that I care. I may not want to care. I may not want to be hurt. I may not want this to affect me. But does that mean it won't hurt or affect me? So it's not about control. The only thing we can control is what we do. That is it. And that is how you break the trauma. Things are going to happen. This is Satan's system. We can't control nothing but ourselves. That is it. Literally. That is the only control we have is our actions. And sometimes our actions fester the trauma. Sometimes. So we're going to take it back to what I said earlier. We have to take accountability for the part that we played in our trauma. Not all the time. This is not, a one-size-fits-all conversation because there's different levels of trauma. But emotional trauma, we do have some control over how we react. We do. Now, in the moment, you may feel like you're going out of control. You're crazy because emotions is strong. When those feelings get hurt and they stepped on, they bruised, now it's swollen, it screw everybody. I don't care about you. Light the whole world on fire. And while they lit no fire, you're going to take your little cigarette and light it from their burning bodies. Because you don't care. You're hurt. You have to get these emotions out. You have to. What am I going to do? Now, does that condone you lashing out? No. Is there a healthy way to release your frustration? Yes. I was also thinking about trauma and how it starts at the home base. Because that's how serial killers come about. Everybody's abused, mistreated. And because they did not deal with that trauma, now they're creating other traumas. Because how do you deal with this? Let's get straight to the point because I don't want to keep beating around the bush. So besides accepting the part that we play, accepting the part that you played means, okay, I did not deal with that trauma, so now I'm lashing out. Now I'm the next world's notorious female serial killer. Because I'm pissed off, I'm hurt, Nobody cared about me, so why should I care about you? It desensitizes you. So that is the part that I played. I should have dealt with my trauma who knows how long ago, before it got to that point. And the same could be said, okay, everybody's not a serial killer. That was just an example, because that's usually how serial killers come about. They say monsters are not born, they are made. I said that's what they say. Now, do I believe that? Not really, if I'm being completely honest. Because again, you had a choice. Everybody has a choice. You can't control what happened to you. Okay, that's a trauma. We understand that. It wasn't fair. Life sucks. Boo-hoo. Tear, tear. Sniffle, sniffle. Play the violin. We got that. It's completely justifiable that you are hurt over whatever happened to you. But what's not justifiable is how you reacted. You don't get to go on a rampage and kill 50 people because you're pissed off. Now that is where you take accountability. Does that make that okay? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That is where the accountability comes into play. So before you get to that point, fix the trauma. So you're going to walk around traumatized forever? Okay, you killed 50 people. All you did was cause more hurt, more pain, and more trauma for other people. And now they're going to have to deal with it however they're going to deal with it. And then so on and so on and so on and so on. But did that erase your trauma? Did those 50 deaths take away that pain that you are still enduring today? No. Because if it did, you would have stopped at number one. And I'm not condoning any type of murder. But if that was the answer, the first one would have done it for you. Why didn't it? Because here comes the second one, and the third, and the fourth, and the fifth, and the sixth. You're going to keep going. Now you're a psycho. You're psychotic if you think this is enjoyable. You are traumatized. That is not normal. A trauma is a behavior that is not normal. It does not justify wrongdoing. It will never justify wrongdoing. Because you know what? If you get caught, and usually sometimes they do, and you go against your sentencing, they're not talking about what happened to you in 1973. Even though it really happened. You're really traumatized. You're really hurt. That's not a part of this jury. They're not talking about what happened in 1942. Even though it still affects you. What they're talking about is what happened in 2025. Because it's a whole lot of time between 1942 and 2025. That is a whole lot of decades that you could have dealt with that trauma before 225 came and you decided to become a serial killer. At what point are you going to take accountability and say, you know what? I am not going to be your victim. I refuse. Yeah, it was messed up. I didn't deserve it. I'm pissed. I'm hurt. I might even be emotionally broken. But what I will not do is be your victim. I will not carry this for the next 6 decades and become a monster. I will not become you. I refuse. That trauma stops right here. It stops with me. I'm not carrying it to my husband. I'm not carrying it to my kids. I'm not carrying it to society. I won't. I can't control what other people do, but I will not carry that over to the next generation. It's going to stop right here. And imagine if a lot of people, I won't say everybody, because that's kind of unrealistic, but imagine if a lot of people had that mentality? What problems in this world could we eliminate? Just off of that right there, just talking about emotional trauma. What problems can we say bye-bye to? How about relationships? Romantic, non-romantic? Family. What about the family dynamic? What about self-confidence? Because all of those can be a result of a trauma. So we're going to touch on those three, because I'm not going to go too, because we could be here all day. And we're not going to be here all day. So we're going to touch on those three. So I said relationships first. Let's go there first. And we can do the non-romantic first. Let's start with the family. A lot of family are not close anymore. Why is that? No one calls anybody. No one checks up. I won't say all. We're just talking about a couple. A lot. I didn't say the majority, and I didn't say everybody. A lot of families are not family. Why? Because everybody had their own problems. Everybody's dealing with something, somebody, some type of sword that is going on. Why is it that families only get together on holidays and birthdays? Why is that? And I'm not saying no, because we're not going into religious matter right now. But funerals, holidays, and birthdays is a top time to see your family. Okay, I got one birthday a year. Just one. Okay, so that's only once a year. Okay. It might be 10 maybe federal holidays a year. Okay. And funeral, that sucks. That's a sucky way to see your family. And then we all sit here and we cry, and we always say, oh, we take life for granted. We need to get closer together. We need to start talking. And then as soon as midnight hits, when that funeral is over, you go right back to the way things were. A lot of people say, I miss Susie on the spot for my family, but when I need them, they're nowhere to be found. They're Caspers in the wind. They're whispers. And how many people have heard that? Or how often have you felt that yourself? So the family. What is wrong with the family dynamic today? Well, a lot of families are broken. A lot of families are broken because when you have two parents who are not dealing with their traumas, and by traumas, it could be imperfections. Because everybody swear they're the best wife, the best husband, until they get proven wrong. Nobody is the best husband, the best wife. Everybody is imperfect. You're going to bring something to this table that is going to irritate, annoy, cause friction in the marriage. It's just inevitable. So before you pat yourself on the back, okay, you're going to annoy somebody. And they're going to annoy you. The problem is nobody wants to show grace. Nobody wants to be realistic and say, you know what? Okay, you know what? You rub me wrong. I rub you wrong. Stop counting. Okay, they annoyed you 7 times today and you only annoyed them 4. So? Maybe tomorrow you annoy me 10 and I annoy you 0. Then what? So now because we keep letting this petty crap, we don't want to communicate because we didn't learn how to communicate when we were younger, a trauma. We didn't learn what a healthy relationship to look like, a trauma. Now we're lashing out. Now the kids see that. They think that is normal. The kids don't want to be home because the family is not healthy. The family is smothering. I'm tired of others yelling back and forth, throwing dishes. I ain't got time for that. Now I want to go over grandma's house. Now I want to go to my cousin's house. Or maybe the family itself. It could be sisters. Don't get along, you know. And it's sometimes, not all the time, it's some old crap that happened way back in the day. Oh, we don't mess with them because, I heard back in 1943. What? I was alive in 1943. Why do I have to be a part of this? Trauma. Communication or lack thereof is a form of trauma. Because if you knew how to communicate, you can heal your trauma. Talking about a lot of things is good for the soul. It's like opening a window and letting fresh air in. Taking a deep breath. That's what that is. It really hurt me that you did that to me. It hurt me to my core. How could you? You're supposed to protect me. You're my mother. You're my father. You're my sister. You're my brother. You're my uncle. Why would you hurt me like this? That hurts. I'm heartbroken. I'm going to go deal with this. Now, I can't control whether or not you apologize or whether or not you change your actions or whether or not you take yourself accountable for what you've done to me. But I'm going to go deal with this because I do not want this to affect me for the next 40, 60, 70 years. I'm going to cry my eyes out. For how long? As long as I need. As long as I need to feel better about what you have done to me, because I don't want to be your victim. I don't want to be the next you. That is how you start to heal. Communication. Now, does that mean that everyone's going to be sorry? No. Sometimes we have to heal without an apology. Sometimes we have to heal without them feeling remorseful. We do not have to base our healing on someone's apology. Do we deserve an apology? Is it our right to have one? Yes, it is. Are we going to get one? Who knows? Does that have to delay your healing? No. No, it does not. Because you are responsible for what you do. Yeah, you hurt me. I have a choice. I can either deal with it and stop dealing with you, or I can let it fester. Letting it fester, as we have learned, but it's not good. We're not going to let it fester. We're not going to let it spread and become a cancer in the world. We're going to deal with it and maybe stop dealing with you. You got one time to traumatize me and we're good. We're good. I don't have to stay here. I don't have to sit and feel these feelings and let it fester and become my roots to the person I become tomorrow. I don't have to do that. I refuse to do that. I won't do that. I'm not doing that. Because I'm not going to spread this hate in the universe. Why should I do that? What good has ever come out of that anyway? And because the family is broken, and now I don't know what a real family looks like. So when I grow up and be big and strong, so I think, and I meet somebody and I think that how my parents communicated is normal. Now, that's if I find somebody. And now we're going to go into the romantic part. We don't dealt with the family trauma, and it's plenty more that can be said about that. But for the sake of time, we're going to go into the romantic. So you go up big and strong. You meet somebody. And you're not communicating in a healthy manner. First of all, that is baggage. All of that is baggage. So you have your bag full of trash, and the trash is a trauma. Okay? So I take my bag with my trauma and I bring it into a relationship. The problem with that is, as a person who's traumatized, you start to feel like they have to accept your bag. Like, oh, well, if you can't set me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best. Sweetheart, do you know what your best is? What is your best? Define your best. What does that mean? Because this right here, I'm not dealing with this. I don't disrespect you. You don't disrespect me. If you have a problem, communicate. And we can decide how to fix it that works better for you and I. Because it's not all about you. A relationship is not all about you. It is about us. You need two people for a relationship to work. So that means both sides have to be accommodated. But just because you're traumatized, we have to walk on eggshells. So I got to accept your bag of trash because you didn't have enough courage to leave it on the curb where it belongs for the trash man to pick up. You want me to help you pick it up? Okay, I might, depending on how much I like you. Depending on if I want to do that, because I don't have to do that. And that is what people don't realize. Nobody has to help you carry your bag. Nobody. It is nobody's responsibility to carry your bag but yours. Now, how heavy that bag is up to you. Now, if it's light, okay, you can just put that on curve. It's light right now. Right now, it's light. So that person decides, you know what? I don't really want to carry trash. I ain't with it. Now you're hurt. You didn't want to be here for me. You didn't want to. More trauma goes in the bag. Now it's getting heavier. Maybe it triggers something. Maybe you feel rejected. Maybe you feel mistreated. We don't know. But had you communicate, like say, hey, so-and-so happened to me. I'm working through it. I understand it's a lot. I'm doing my part. Instead of saying that, you just expected them to pick up the bag. Absolutely not. I may help you carry your bag, but I'm not carrying your bag for you. No, ma'am. No, sir. No. I will assist you, but I'm not doing it for you. I can't do it for you. I can't. So now that doesn't work. More trauma goes in the bag. Now you're really hurt. Oh, my first relationship, it was terrible. It was, yeah, we got it. But instead of dealing with the trauma right here and say, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't be carrying this bag around. No, you make it heavier. And here comes the next person. Now you got a heavier bag to put into the relationship. And they're like, hey, whoa, what's all of this? And now because you have experienced the first one was a failure, now you side-eyeing. Well, the last one didn't want to help me. That's the first mistake you made. I don't want to hear what the last one did. I wasn't there. And until I do something to hurt you, we're good. If I do something to hurt you, talk to me about that. Don't talk to me about what the person before me did, because the key word in that sentence is before. That is the magical word. Before me. I can't do nothing about what happened before me. I can only do what happens with me. That is another form of trauma. And if you weren't ready to let that go, you should have never started with me. So before we hop to number 2, let's deal with number 1. That really hurt me. They didn't want to carry the bag with me. Okay, you know what? I probably shouldn't have this with me anyway. Let me put this down so I can start fresh. Now, here I come. And now we're fresh. I don't have to hear about what happened before me. I don't have to hear about what someone else have done to you. What I could hear about is how you have handled that, healed from it, and how it's going to help you and I. Like, yes, that traumatized me, but you know what? I dealt with that. Yeah, it sucked, and it's not going to be a part of me. That was the 7-year-old me or the 12-year-old me, but the 30-year-old me, yeah, that can't come into my 30s. I left that at 13. It's my history. It doesn't mean it's a part of my personality. See how that works? It could be a part of your history and not your personality. So now you meet number 2. We didn't deal with number 1. And number 2 was like, no. I see why number 1 left. I ain't with it. Out the door they go. Now that goes into the bag. And you're like, what is going on? I'm this, I'm that, I'm a catch. I'm a 10. Y'all suck. All men are dogs. All women are trash. Is that so? Is it all women? Is it all men, or just those two? If it's even those two, maybe it's just you. So now I'm trash because I don't want to carry your bag of trash. I'm not a good woman because I don't want to carry your trauma that should have been dealt with before I got here. Now I'm trash. Or maybe you did deal with the trauma, but that person was trash. Okay, they're trash. Not me. Not me. I didn't do it. They did it. But you can't see that because you're still dealing with the hurt from a trauma. That you threw me in the bag. You threw me in this bag before you gave me a chance. So since I'm trash, I'm out. I'm not going to be with somebody who doesn't see my full potential. So I'm out of here. So now that person leaves. Now we're on number 3. Oh, God. And you would think at this point, you would put the bag down. No, we're going to put more in it because it ain't full yet. And then so on and so on. And you drag this bag with you all the way down the driveway. And instead of walking or running to the curb, you're going to drag this bag full of trash, making it worse for yourself. Pick it up and place it on the curb. No, that's too much like right, Shay. I'm going to drag this bag full of trash all the way down the driveway. Why? Because somebody has to help you pick it up? So now here comes number 3. And like, why are you dragging this bag? What's going on here? Well, the first and the second and third, and when I was young and I was 13, I was 7, I was 8, I was 10. I'm sorry, how old are you again? How much time passed for you to deal with this? Yeah, that's a red flag. Pass. Keep going the bag. Now it's getting heavier. It gets so freaking heavy How heavy is too heavy? Eventually, you're going to keep dragging that bag, and you know what's going to happen? It's going to pop. It's too much crap in it. You never put it down. You never let it go. You just keep throwing it in and throwing it in and throwing it in. A bag can only handle so much before it doesn't. And poof! Now you got crap everywhere. And you want other people to help you pick up all this trash? Huh? Why you didn't throw it away before? You should have been took that trash out. It should have been on a curve. It never should have been that heavy that the bag had to bust. Now you looking around. Nobody gonna help me sweep? I'm sorry, what? I'm doing what? Sweep? Baby, you need a mop. Baby, you need a hazmat suit. Because it's too much crap going on in this here. It's too much going on right here. So now you exploded. Because you never dealt with your traumas. And yet it started at 6, it started at 10, it started at 14. It could have stopped at 15. But now we're going to carry another 15 years all the way to our 30s, our 40s, our 50s, our 60s. And all that crap goes in this bag. And now we don't bust it. Now we don't blew up. Now we're a serial killer. Now all men are dogs. All women are trash. Is that really the case? Or are you just traumatized? Deal with your trauma. It's okay to put it in the bag, but take that bag and throw it away. Get a fresh bag. Is that the only bag in the world? Get a fresh bag. Because every new relationship, every new experience, every decade, every day, every year comes with different stuff. Everything cannot go in this one bag. Start taking that trash out. Leave it on the curb. And when you put it on the curb, don't go back in it. When we take our garbage out, do we go back and you know what? I think it's some valuables in here. No. Leave it where you put it. Leave it alone. Get a new bag. Start over. However long that takes. However long it takes for you to take that back to the trash and get back in the house, get a fresh bag, put it in the trash can. However long you need, take. I don't care if it's 2 years. If it needs 2 years, well, by golly, give it 2.5. Because I'm not carrying this bag everywhere I go. Trauma is like carrying a trash bag full of junk everywhere you go. In the car, at your job, to the car wash, grocery store, over your family's house, go to your children, to the wedding, to the funeral, to sleep, to the shower, to the toilet. You gonna carry that everywhere you go? Put it down. Put the bag down. Breathe. Talk. Heal. Get a new bag. It's okay. So is it really hard? It depends. Nobody said it's easy. Nobody said it's easy. I said it's possible. I didn't say it was easy. Because realistically, it's not. When them emotions get involved, it's blood and war, baby. Okay? It is. But it's okay to be hurt. It is okay to feel broken. It is not okay to be a victim. It is not okay to become the person who traumatized you. And the last trauma, emotional. Emotional trauma is deadly. It's silent. It kills everything and heals nothing. Communication is top tier. when dealing with trauma. Everybody's hurt. And sometimes an apology is like a placebo. Is it really? Because if I say, my bad, I'm sorry. Yeah, I got an apology. Did that really help you feel better? Maybe. Maybe not. Or if they go into detail, you know what? I am sorry. But here's the thing about apologies. Sometimes they become a placebo. What exactly are you sorry for? Be very specific. And this is how you take accountability. Like I spoke earlier, when you take accountability for what you have done, apologize specifically. I'm sorry for what I have done to you. I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have reacted that way. My actions was completely wrong. I'm sorry for how I made you feel, however that was. I take full ownership. I had no business doing that to you. Why did I do that to you? Because I'm dealing with my own trauma. So I'm passing it on. I had no business passing this on to you. Please don't pass this on to somebody else. I'm sorry. Now imagine if that happens. Then what? How would relationships be affected if it was handled in that manner? But instead it's not. I'm sorry. Sometimes you don't get an apology. What are you sorry for? All of it? Half of it? None of it? What are you sorry for? What are you talking about? Do you even get the placebo? Who knows? But does that have to hinder you? Does that have to be a part of whether or not you become a good person or not? Okay, they're not sorry. We can't control that. But I'm not going to be you. I'm not. I refuse. Because I don't want to keep carrying this bag around me everywhere I go. I gotta put it down. My arm is heavy. It's getting numb. It hurts. I'm putting this trash bag down. And I'm walking back into the house. I'm gonna close the door. I'm gonna put a new bag in my trash can. And I'm gonna do what I need to do. I don't have to figure it out all right now, but I'm gonna figure it out. That is how you heal a trauma. That is not the only way. That's only one way. We only talk about one way. Communication is top tier. We can't talk about everything, but we can talk about maybe one or two ways. And one or two ways is accountability and communication. It is beautiful what those two can do together, isn't it? So now I know how to communicate and I know how to be accountable. What is that going to do for my relationships? So now I'm meet number 4. Now I'm healed now. So when you hurt me, you know what? I don't really like when you do that. Can we not? Is there some way else that we can have this go for that works for you and I? Sure. What do you suggest? Okay, well, I realize that when I react this way, you do this. So does that bother you when I do that? Because it bothers me when you do this. Okay, well, if you stop doing that, then I'll stop doing this. See how that works? No yelling, no cursing, no name calling, no abuse, no physical. Because pretty soon you get caught on your name too many times, and now here comes somebody swinging. That's just how it works. But because you learn how to communicate and take accountability, now you healthy. Okay. So we'll throw that little bit in the bag. Okay. So we fixed that. Now that goes in the bag. But see, here's the difference. Now they're helping you with the bag. You're not dragging it anymore. Oh, babe, I feel some kind of way when I just want to talk to you. I just want to hear from you. I just, why haven't called you all day. You haven't, what's going on? Oh, I was so busy. My fault. I didn't even have time to check my phone. My phone died 3 hours ago. I've left my charger at home, etc. Instead of you just assuming something is wrong, you gave them a chance to tell you what happened. Healthy communication and accountability is one of the best ways that we can heal our traumas. First, we have to acknowledge we have one, and then we have to take accountability for whatever we do after we are traumatized. And then we have to learn how to communicate. It's beautiful. It is a beautiful when it's actually worked correctly. That's not a really good way to put that. When you actually utilize these tools correctly, I should say. It's beautiful, isn't it? But everybody's going to do what they need to do. Everybody's going to do what they want to do. We can't control that. We can only control ourselves. So we have learned nothing from today. We have learned accountability and communication is a wonderful way to heal our traumas and to make a better tomorrow than today was. So I'm going to wrap this up. And if you guys want to piggyback or you want to add to it, feel free to do so. This is an open discussion. I so appreciate you listening for all 46 minutes of this topic. And I wish you guys a very, very, very shay-licious day. Love you all. Be safe. Until next time.